This is LMU I'm Scott Erlin, back again with head men's basketball coach Josh Schertz. Coach, let's talk about a little bit about last night. Pretty lopsided win, to say the least. Hosted VU Lynchburg, 109-38 victory. Obviously, in a win like that, a lot of things went right. What did you see from your team last night?
Well, a couple things. One, I was really pleased with them. I thought both from a competitiveness and execution standpoint, guys were excited to play. I think guys came out with a good intensity level, and certainly I thought, particularly on the defense side of the ball, did a nice job of executing. Lynchburg spreads you and drives you, and they play a dribble drive offense, and we were able to do a pretty good job of staying between our man and the basket and contesting everything. And probably the biggest thing from a positive standpoint from my end was I thought we learned from the experience against Ohio Midwestern. It was a similar type game in that you're playing a small college team, and I think when we went into the Ohio Midwestern game, I thought our team in general tried to play that game kind of on their own terms. Kind of wanted to come in and take the temperature of the game, see how hard we had to play to be successful, what level of effort do we need to give, and kind of try to manage that. If we could play at 50-60%, that was kind of their mentality, and then it almost wound up backfiring as we were down the second half. I thought last night we talked about just coming out and playing as hard as you can and trying to be the best you can be regardless of who the opponent is, and I thought last night was a much better example of that for our basketball team.
And one thing that you had to be happy with is Laquan started off red hot. I think he made 28 of his first 49 threes this year. But then he misses his first one last night, and that was his 13th straight three-pointer that he missed. It was not a significant shooting slump, but a pretty big shooting slump for a guy like Laquan. But then he ends up making three in a row. He goes 3 for 5 from three on the night. How big do you think that was for your team to see him get his confidence back a little bit?
Well, him to make shots is important. With the jump shooter, and I think Luquan's at a point, we tell him, he's a basketball player. And, shots are going to go in, not go in. Obviously, I think he's a guy that's not a good shooter. I think he's a great shooter. He's a guy that just by being on the floor, whether he makes shots or not, he has a major impact on our team because when you have an elite shooter, it creates opening and space for the guys. I think his presence on the floor makes Lorenza better, makes KP better, makes the guys around him better just because of you got to really account for him. But obviously to see the ball go in the basket and to knock down some shots was big for him moving forward. He had been, law averages dictate he wasn't going to shoot, 61-62% from the three all year. Obviously, hopefully law averages dictate he wasn't going to go 0% either, which is kind of where he had been. He, I guess, like you said, missed 13 consecutive, but it was nice to see the ball go in the basket for him. And the thing that he's done a pretty good job of is trying to still defend and rebound and drive and make plays and get teammates involved and become a complete basketball player and be a guy who plays both ends. And you can see it from him defensively that still, I think, even against Coker where he didn't shoot the ball well, and last night I thought, even though he shot it better, still had 4 assists. He got in the lane, did a nice job defensively. So good to see him kind of rounding into a guy that can do it on both sides of the ball and is a basketball player more than just a shooter.
And then let's turn our attention forward a little bit. Hugely anticipated matchup now. It was already hugely anticipated before the season started with Newberry on Monday, and now we see that they broke into the NABC poll there at number 21. We're at number 8. So this is in your time here, and as far as I can tell, the first time in the Division II era that we've had a top 25 ranked matchup here at Texas Turner Arena. So what are you doing to prepare your team for a game of that magnitude?
Well, I think you always look at it, and it's it's the most important game because it's the next game. And once that game's over, the most important game in the history of my career will be Virginia Wise, and it just goes that way. But I do understand. From the perspective of, you got two teams that are nationally ranked, that are undefeated, squaring off. So it's a pretty unique opportunity. I think from my end of it, you have to be careful, and we never try to put and overemphasize and overreact to one game. If we win on Monday or lose on Monday, no champions are crowned, nothing's going on. It's kind of the next step in this team's journey. It's going to be great to play Newberry because I think we have an unbelievable amount of respect for them. They are a program that has kind of really. Dave's been there for 5 years, and you just watch them kind of going through the steps. They were below 500, they were 500, they won 16 games. Then all of a sudden last year they were the 9th team in the region, right? They were the first team left out of the NCAA, a tournament. They were the last team not to make it. So they were right on the cusp, and they've kind of not skipped steps. They've done the work. They've got players that have been there a long time. Dondre Walker, DeMarcus Smith, I think are 5th-year guys. Mitch Riggs, Brandon Taylor, Xavier Holmes. A lot of upper-class juniors and seniors that have kind of been through the wars, have been hardened with some good results, some bad results. They're a tough team, and they got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because they were right on the outside looking in last year, and had they probably beaten us in the conference semis, they get in. So from our perspective, looking at it, outside looking in, it's kind of really neat to see how they've evolved and developed in a top 20 program, and their style of play obviously is extremely unique. So we expect them to come in, and both teams, I think, obviously will be excited to play. We expect it to be an incredibly difficult game. They're hard to guard. They're hard to go against on the other side of the ball in terms of offensively going against their defense. And so they have tremendous personnel, great coaching, all the things that go into making an excellent team, an excellent program. They have all that, obviously.
And one of the biggest issues with playing Newberry, from what I've watched over the last couple of years, is they try to force you to play their kind of game. They want to make the game hectic and chaotic. They're right now 9th in the country, scoring 93 points a game. They're forcing a lot of turnovers. We know they came in here 2 years ago and hung 113 points on us. Everyone remembers that game. It was a little bit shocking to watch unfold. I think they hit like 16 three-pointers in that game or something. So as always, kind of what is the approach to try to not let them get you off your game, and also to slow them down offensively?
Well, I think it's a very difficult balance. You have to. They're really unique. They put an incredible amount of pressure on you when you're on offense because of the way they trap and press and getting the ball, and then on the defensive side, when you're guarding them, they put an unbelievable amount of pressure on you because they're spreading the floor, dribble drive. They got really kind of unique in that. I think Dondre Walker, DeMarcus Smith, even Gerald Evans are guys that can really shoot it from the three-point line. They also are great off the bounce and creative and can drive it, so they're very difficult to match up with. From our standpoint, and it's much easier said than done, I think, from an offensive standpoint, we have to certainly try to take advantage when we have numbers and attack them to score behind their pressure, and have to be smart enough when it's not there to pull it out and run offense and constantly understand that coming down and getting sped up is not how we want to play. However, we don't want to attack their pressure, break it, and then pull it back out every time either. You got to be unbelievably aggressive and under control, and all this stuff is paradoxes obviously in terms of understanding, hey, we have numbers here, let's attack and let's make them pay at the rim, or hey, we broke the pressure and we don't have numbers. They are for our guys, it's going to have to be we have to show tremendous ball toughness because you're going to be in a lot of traps. Going to be guys getting underneath you. They put tremendous ball pressure on you. So from the guard standpoint, they really enjoy the game because there's really not a whole lot of coaching that goes on. You have to kind of allow them to play and make plays and understand, like always, you want to, give up good to get great in terms of shot selection. But there's been times where I thought, we've kind of fell into the lull of just coming down and just casting up a shot early, and you have to, like I said, kind of walk that balance. On the defensive side, you have to do a great job of containing them and staying between your man and the basket, contesting the shot, and then they send 5 guys to the backboards. So every single rebound is contested, and if you're not prepared to go in and get man rebounds in traffic, contested rebounds every time, and you can't bend your knees and stay between your man and the basket and challenge every shot, and you're constantly in rotations and they're getting their shoulders by and forcing help and able to make plays, then what happened to us 2 years ago where they come in here and they score 113 points, make 16 threes, that night not only they make 16 threes, but they made like 31 free throws. So we got whipped every which way you can get whipped. I mean, they were driving it and really just controlled the game from tip to buzzer. So. I think it's something where they're extremely explosive offensively, and then they allow their defense and that pressure. If you turn it over, live ball turnovers, that really fuels their offense because now you can't guard a turnover. They're getting 1-on-nones, 2-on-nones. They're getting in transition, getting dunks, layups, and it kind of feeds off itself. So we have to do a really good job on the our offense can help our defense by taking care of the ball and attacking them and then running offense when it's not there. On the defensive side, we got to make them play 5-on-5. They're unbelievably good in transition. We got to sprint back and get set, which is different. We got to sprint back and then obviously make them play 5-on-5. And when it's 5-on-5, we got to do a great job of staying between our man and the basket, challenging every shot. And then obviously, like I said, we're going to have to really rebound because every rebound will be extremely contested.
Well, there are 21 remaining unbeatens in the NCAA Division II ranks, and 2 of them will be at Texas Turner on Monday. Best of luck to you, Coach, and we'll catch up with you after the game.
Sounds good, Scott. I'll look forward to seeing you Monday.